With this animal, we're going to field dress, going right to the tagging station, then directly to the butcher. Within an hour and a half, it's going to be at the butcher, and he's going to skin it for us. The first area I always start is around the pelvic cavity. In this case, the anus and the vulva. It actually comes out of the pelvic region and goes forward on them. We're going to begin here, then we'll make an incision up through where this is a cow that you're not going to have mounted, but you're going to have save the hide to tan for a rug. We're going to split it, and this is actually the best case scenario for the animal. We will make an incision all the way up through to the chin. We will then split the sternum, which allows us to open that cavity up, remove the esophagus, and peel everything backwards. So it'll be probably the cleanest possible. So let's get started. Just a case knife it's got a fairly long blade, probably a 5-inch blade. On a large animal like a moose, a little extra blade length does help because it gives you a little bit more reach. The touchy part here is trying not to puncture the intestines or bladder. Again, we're just working on connective tissue. If you give it a little tension against that connective tissue and just touch it with the knife, it'll come apart. So the other thing in this area that you'll want to do is use your hand to push away from the cavity. That's much less risk of puncturing things with your hand than you do with a knife. I like to make an incision just in the skin all the way up first. I'm just going to go around the udder. You see I'm pinching the skin and pulling it up so that we don't have, so you're separating that away from the body cavity and you're cutting up. That way there's less of an opportunity to puncture the abdomen. We're just removing the udder at this point. There. If you cut down, you're going to do two things. One, you're going to puncture the abdomen, then you're going to have intestinal contents all over. Two, you're going to dull your knife cutting the hair. One key thing to mention here, this animal's not going to have a shoulder mount done. If you were going to do a shoulder mount, you would stop your incision forward at this point. In this case, we're going to be able to split the sternum and be able to reach things without having to get way inside the animal, actually. And we're simply splitting the sternum right down the center. This is where you want to be a little careful. We're coming through most of the breastbone right at the cartilage end of the sternum, and that's where the diaphragm is. If you look, here's the heart and lung. In front of the diaphragm, the stomach and abdomen are going to be here behind. So I'm going to stop with the saw there before we make a mess. At this point, we're going to cut the trachea and esophagus and begin to pull that free. If you cut it back in the cavity, it's going to spill it into the animal. By cutting it here, minimal, actually no spillage, we can now pull that to the side, and anything that may come out is on the ground and not in your animal. So what I'm doing here is cutting the stomach lining. You're not going to cut yourself, right? So if you push down with your hand on the stomach and up with the knife between your fingers, you can go right down through with no risk. You can see the pressure of those gases building right there. It's the part you want to take the most care in, because you don't want to puncture any of this. We have the heart, lungs, the diaphragm, which separates the stomach and intestines and other organs from the heart-lung area. We need to now separate that. We can cut the diaphragm, and again, I can use my hand for protection. We can also begin to use this as a handle and pull away. So now, just like removing the esophagus on that end, we have the anus and vulva have come cleanly through. And we can begin from this end. And that's diaphragm. And as you can see, there's blood in the cavity from where made a perfect shot through the lungs. That is a perfectly clean cavity, no stomach contents or anything like that to spoil the meat.